All right, so we are here with this topic, future of construction, right? So if you have attended the morning session with the general section, so it was more about future of making things. But I always put a question here is, who knows the future? Future of making is there, but who knows the future? Can anyone? Do you know the future? You obviously don't know future, but do you plan for future? You obviously, your birthday parties, annual vacations, leave, and everything you plan. So it's future of construction today is planning for that construction which is going to happen in future. And when we talk about those technologies, what is the basis for those technologies? Why are we planning? And why should we care today that for the construction which is going to happen tomorrow or next year and all that? So I'm going to show you some data. So this is a data as per McKinsey, which says that annually a construction company spends or invests 1.2% in technology. It's a worldwide trend. 1.2%. Remember the number, 1.2%. Now, if you look at other industries, like manufacturing, they spend around 3.3%. And you have seen most of the manufacturing processes are automated. They have a lot of automations. They have a lot of stuff which is, mass production. They can do a lot of things in a quick manner versus the construction. Even the person who is being the project manager for 25 years, he still struggles to set up a column first time in a new project because it's always new. But it's all about the process. And how do we go and get those processes streamlined and work with them? Now, I'm sure if you have heard about BIM, and you might have seen this curve before, when we say that we need to fix the problems at our computer at a design stage before we send those drawings up on the site for construction. So there is always an impact on the cost whenever it's going to change. Wherever you change it, it's going to be less cost versus more cost at a particular stage of the project. Similarly, what is there for us? So if we are looking for a future of construction, what needs to be looked at? So there is the traditional, where you see, okay, you go from planning to design or design to construction and to operate. There's always a drop. What's that drop? Can you guess that? What happens that time? Any guesses? There's always a change in data. So you get, for example, a CAD file at a concept stage, then you take it to someone else, contractor gets PDF, he starts doing something again. So it's always that change which happens. You restart a lot of stuff, keep redoing a lot of stuff again and again, which is not good for the construction industry as an overall. Now what we are looking here as a trend is that, what if the data which is generated on a day one can be taken to all the stages without worrying about the file format, without worrying about if I take it from this software to other software, am I going to lose data? Will I have the information available to me or not? So that's what we are talking about from a construction future point of view, and that's what we need to be doing, and we need to be looking for that particular perspective. So, as per McKinsey, another survey, they say that construction companies worldwide, or the industry, can save $1.2 trillion annually if they digitize the processes. Remember how much they were investing? 1.2. If the digitization happened, there's a return on investment happening on the gradually for all those companies. Because money spent on getting the processes streamlined is money gained on different processes and different ways of doing it. So what is all about is, you typically use the tools which you have today. For example, whether you use AutoCAD, whether you use Civil 3D, whether you use Plant 3D, or whether you use Revit. So that is something on your desktop. But to get the information readily available to every stakeholder in a project, you need to connect it. How can you connect it when your connection from your office, you are not giving connection to someone else from outside? So you need to find a common platform where you share that information and the data, and then it becomes connected BIM. You have been doing BIM, whether BIM for infrastructure, BIM for plant, or BIM for buildings, but that stays with you. Unless and until you upload the files are always old versions till you get to a new next coordination meeting. It's always messy. Versus how we can streamline the process of information exchange and get this BIM as a connected BIM. So to get the connected BIM is a concept. So what we say is a desktop application which you today use with the power of cloud, where you're connecting that process of information. So connected BIM means your desktop applications and the power of cloud. So to get started with that power of cloud for the AEC industry or the construction industry, I would say, we came up with a set of tools, and we call them BIM 360 family of products. So when it comes to the BIM 360 family of products, the first thing you would notice, they're all cloud-based. They're born in cloud. They're not desktop applications anymore. So most of the applications, you'll be able to run them in a web browser. You don't need to have a powerful PC. You can open those applications on your mobile devices. It could be your Android, or as well as the iPhones and tablets. So what we are looking here is to gain that efficiency, deliver the information more quickly, more accurately as a single source of truth, which is going to reduce the risk of that misinformation what we always have during the construction in the projects. Now, for any cloud product, we always have some of these similarities. So what the first of the similarity is, you're going to have access to the data and the information at any time, at anywhere, wherever you are in the world. And then you're going to deliver the information to the right stakeholders, whoever needs it, whenever needed, and the way needed. Similarly, you have a capability to connect all the teams, whether in your office, whether your office in a different country or different city, or other stakeholders. You can connect everyone to the same source of information. You'll be able to provide that single database or single source of truth, where everyone can go and have a look at it, can decide what's going to happen. So decision making becomes very easy because everyone is at the same page. It's not like somebody's looking at version 1, somebody's looking at version 2. People don't know what's happening at a different location. We're going to streamline it here. And at the end of the day, we're going to analyze the data. And if you remember, in the morning session, we're talking about the data as the new fuel. And this BIM 360 products, they generate the data, and the data is going to be used for a lot of efforts we're going to have. You saw in the morning something called as Project IQ, right? That is still not available as a product we sell, but it is something which you have seen in the morning. So what it does is, it takes the data which is captured with these technology, and it analyzes that, it predicts that. So it uses those historical data, predicts the behavior, and warns you that if this is something you're doing, this is what can happen. So you can be ready with what's going to happen. Now, whenever we talk about the cloud, we talk about how the cloud works. So it's like if you have clouds on Table Mountain, it's good speed. Otherwise, it's not a good speed, right? So it's not about those clouds we're talking about, right? So I don't know who developed the word cloud, but in Middle East, there is no cloud. So, but I still wonder, we still get the internet connection. Right, so it's about sending or accessing the data from a single location, which is not in your server, and then accessing it from a web browser or accessing it from a device. It can be your phone or a tablet. And how we do it is very simple. The data which goes from your PC till our cloud, and the data which comes from the cloud back to your PC is all encrypted. So we always say that's an enterprise class, security level. I don't know if some of you have attended a security session in the morning. So that's why we discuss how we are actually doing all those certifications and security protocols, and how is it better than having on your own computers. Now, going further to the products which we're going to talk about. So before I start, I'm going to warn you. Okay? So warning is, you'll get confused. Okay? Most of the products have similar capabilities, but our target personas are different. Who should be using which product and when they should be using, this is how we define it. For example, if you look at the first product over here, which says BIM 360 team, and we stop it at pre-construction, it does not mean that I can't use it till the handover, I can use it. But our whole purpose of that particular software was work in progress. Those people who are still working on with those models, with those CAD files, it's for them. Versus if I go with the BIM 360 docs, it's for them who submit. You know, you submit your occasional submissions of Revit or AutoCAD or PDFs. There's a data drops weekly, monthly, or bi-weekly. So that's a difference between these kind of softwares. But even I can start docs from a conceptual stage. Nobody can stop that one. Workflows are there. It can be used anywhere. But it's like, you know, we just want to show that what can work where, so that we distinguish between them, even though there are a lot of similarities between these products. Now, if I briefly go and describe what's BIM 360 team, so it's built for work in progress kind of workflows, built for those architects and engineers who design daily basis, whose work is still in progress, who want to work and review their work with other stakeholders and do design review, for example, markups, share the comments with other teams, as well as this snapshot, what you see here, is one of the functionalities in the team. What it does is it compares two models. So when it compares two models, it tells me what has been deleted, what has been added, or what has been modified. And modified is not mean something has been moved from A to B. It also tells, which is very, very important, whether it's, you know, for when you receive a new file from a different department or different company, you can check what has changed. You can, if you are a QA, QC, or let's say you are a quantity surveyor, before you go to next file, you will see exactly how many of the previous elements have been deleted, how many have been added, what data have changed with the existing ones. So very easy and user-friendly, you know, interface here. Then similarly, the docs is meant for the project teams during the construction layouts and all that. So what it does is it connects all the teams together in one single source of truth, allows them to share the data, allows them to, you know, create those workflows, assign the issues to a company or to a person or to a persona, and then go get along with that. It allows us to publish. It allows us to manage the permission levels, who can access, the person, what can they do. And again, you can access this data on any device, any point of time. Going further, then comes the BIM 360 glue. So if you're aware about the Navisworks, so you can say it's a bit of Navisworks in the cloud, then there's always a question, which is, I already have Navisworks, why glue? So the glue makes another difference. So it's not replacing Navisworks functionality. It works parallelly with Navisworks. How? Because the whole purpose of BIM is collaboration. So if you want to be more collaborative, if you want to go to your coordination meeting not to find the issues, but go and talk to other people to find the solutions, glue is the perfect tool. I'm going to explain you later on how we actually do it. All right. Similarly, I'm talking about BIM 360 layout. So your coordinated models, which are ready for construction, I can take them on an iPad, connect the iPad with a total station, and use the points generated within Navisworks or Revit or AutoCAD, and use a total station to guide me where is that point. So I do not need to do the manual, you know, survey to find my control points on a site. Whether you're looking for a hanger, whether you're looking for a column, whether you're looking for a pile, everything is being controlled digitally, and it's possible. And it's a one-man show. Only one person is required. You don't need even two. Similarly, going further, if I go to this BIM 360 plan, it's something like we call about a short-term planning. Keeping in, it has a track is lean construction method. So it has been developed in the lean construction methodology, and it is for short-term planning. It's not a replacement, I would say, for Primavera or Microsoft Project, but what it does is it creates a collaborative platform for all the stakeholders, all the contractors, subcontractors, who can look at a single dashboard of a plan. They can assign the task, they can track the task, they can see the completion, and they can get everything done in one single location. Then comes BIM 360 Field. This is a product which gets used on a construction site, whatever you do actually on a site. Quality, safety, commissioning, handover, documents to the site, everything in one application. Who can use it? Suppliers, contractors, subcontractors, owners, PMCs, project managers, architects, engineers, everyone on the site. They use a single application to manage the construction site. And what it also has, information like the snapshot, what you see on the right-hand side, it gives you the data in terms of you can see which subcontractor has maximum pending issues versus how the progress of my equipments have been done, how many have been ordered, installed, commissioned, and all those kind of information. And it's live, it's current. Nobody is lying here. Similarly, once the data is captured, and if your model is BIM, it can go back to the BIM. Means the metadata information which you have collected earlier during the site, it will go back to that Revit file. It will go back to that Navisworks file. That means you are ready to go and submit your as-built. You do not need to type anything manually further. That makes a workflow from conceptual design till there. Then what we come here is a BIM 360 Ops, or we used to call it Building Ops earlier. Now we call it BIM 360 Ops. So what happens with that BIM 360 Ops is that is the mobile first, means you can access this asset and maintenance management software on your phone. All right, it takes the data from field, it takes the data from Revit, or it takes the data from an Excel file. And I can get my asset list, I can get my equipment list from a site, and then I can start using it for all the asset management as well as maintenance management. I'm going to show you all of these in details. Now, to begin with, let's go with the BIM 360 team. Now, BIM 360 team, as I was telling earlier, this is what we call as an entry level of connected BIM or the era of connection. So whole purpose here is that you have a collaborative workflow. You need to have an access. As a project remains as a central information, and you start doing design markup. You start looking at 2D and 3D information. You start, inviting the distributed teams to have a common look on that. You can do the live reviews, as well as in any format. So when I say in any format, all the Autodesk formats are supported, including some of our competitive products, including Microsoft Office. In single click, I would say it supports 100+ file formats. So when I say it supports 100+ file formats, it means you can view them. You do not need to, for example, if you want to view a PDF, you don't have to do anything. You just upload a PDF, you can view it on your phone or any device within the same application. You don't need to download PDF separately and view in a PDF viewer. You don't need to download Revit to view in a Revit, or you don't need to download Navisworks to view in Navisworks. You see it in one place. Even Microsoft Office, you open a Word file, you can see it. You open an Excel, PowerPoint, you can view all those file formats in single location. And it supports images, it supports video formats, it supports MP3s, MP4s, all those kind of information. So all the related project information you will have, including the IFCs and all that, when it goes there, you don't need to download them to view. It's there, single location, single source of truth. You go and use any device you have and start working on top of it. And as I was saying, any device, so you can use any device to open any of those file formats which it supports without downloading those files. Now I'm going to show you a quick overview how it looks like. So that's a Revit file actually uploaded to the BIM 360 team. So once it is here, what happens in this is you have a full flexibility of selecting an object and looking at the properties. As I said, our aim is not to lose the metadata. That's the information, right? So without converting the file, I'm sending it here. I can see all the information, whatever I need. It's all here. So you don't need to worry about that. Similarly, if I move further on this, and I want to go to second level, I can go and search. So if you want to say, I have a door, and it's going to filter out type of doors, you select that type, it will only highlight those. So you know how to filter. So it has a search capability within your model to search those objects. You're searching wall, it's going to search those walls. You search ducts, pipes, cable trays, anything you have in the model, you can search them by category, you can search them by the name, you can search them by other elements. That's very user-friendly over here again. Then similarly, if I go here, I can also have uploaded those sheets, coming from Revit, for example. That means even the 2D coming from Revit, I don't need to separately publish them or separately upload them. It will extract those sheets, and I can go and have a look on them. I can verify them. I can design review them. I can comment on top of them and start working on that. So this is a method, like if it is on 2D, so I can say I'm going to add a comment on that. So I can simply go and type my comment. And this is, now remember, this is in one place. Any person having access to that file, or you have invited someone, he can see it. You don't need to write an email. You don't need to write hundreds of pages of text or attach some comments or drawings to anyone. It's in one place. They will see it exactly. It is there. And similarly, I can address it to someone. I can simply put name or comment on an object and say, this is what I need to do here. Now, similarly, if I go here further, so this is also possible that I can do this markup on a 3D view. That was 2D. I can do it on a 3D as well. Because it's BIM, I might find an issue any view. So it's a 3D section, elevation, anyways. So you can go and get these things rolled out. Now, once this is done, you have a full capability of addressing or inviting other people, replying to those comments which have been created. So you can address it to people by just typing their name and saying, can you address this? Can you solve that problem? And all that. So once that is done, then there is something we call as compare. So what I'm doing here is I'm comparing two versions of a file, whether you compare 2D views, whether you compare 3D views, sections and elevations. So once we start comparing, it comes with this result, tells me that this is how many have been added, removed, modified, and all that. I can filter them by discipline. I can hide them by other categories. And what happens here is that if I go here and say, OK, it shows me that it has been modified. So what is the modification? So if I click on that particular air handling unit, it will tell me on the report that it has moved a particular distance. And if I go to version 1, it will show you as an animation. This is where it was, and this is where it is now. Metadata is captured, as well as the physical locations are captured. Is it not good? Do you agree? Right? So similarly, if I go to another object and I want to see, OK, if something has modified, whether that was a pipe or a door. For example, a door, it didn't change in the version 2, but an architect has changed or modified, you would say, fire rating from nothing to 2. It will highlight that as a change, and you'll be able to find it automatically here. You'll be able to see what's going to happen. Apart from that, what also is possible here is I can go and do something called live review. So what live review does is it starts a web session and it gives me a link. So what happens with that link is I can share that link with multiple people. There's no restriction how many. So once that link is copied and shared with other users, I can let them use that or something. Other people go and they will enter their name. It does not require the license, this live review session. Any person can go who has been invited with the link. So they go and type in their name, in this case, a structural engineer. So he wants to be identified as structural engineer. And now what happens, I have 2 people in a live review session. Whenever you want to discuss the project with someone, now in this case, I'm keeping 2 windows on open. And you see here the red dot. That's the person in control right now. He zooms in, it zooms in for the other people as well. He will rotate, he will do anything on the screen. Everyone, no matter where they are in the world, they will see the same things happening. All right? And they can look at the properties, they can chat with each other, they can, and then if this another person takes care or takes the control, that person will be able to rotate. So it's not a single person is driving it. Every person who is in the live without asking for permission, and he can start, focusing on the areas where they need to have more information. So this is the way we are trying to have the information exchange, where information is relevant for everyone. I'm chatting with people, asking them, okay, whether this is fine or not, right? So this is something we have developed as a BIM 360 team with some of the capabilities of connecting different teams, accessing the data in different formats in multiple devices. Then comes as a BIM 360 glue. So as I was saying, so this is a tool which helps to reduce the coordination cycle for extended team. What happens here is that before we go for an actual coordination meeting, we have done the coordination or clash detection in the cloud. We don't need to send a file. We don't need to highlight emails or send emails and write the text. What we do here is that everyone having access to that particular file and project can see those issues in their office before they go to a meeting. And once you identify the problem is within the office, what you do second is you can discuss them within your team before you go for a meeting, so that you have your answers ready before you are in the line of fire, right? So what happens here is, from Revit, for example, so there's a direct button here in Revit. What I'm going to say is I'm going to glue it. I'm going to upload the file to my project. I have a choice to select multiple views with a 2D and 3D, which will go to the cloud. And I can choose the file format. I can choose what folder it goes in. Then it goes to the glue. And glue, again, as I said, it has some similar capabilities like team, but it has unique capabilities as well. So I have a model. I can filter the model based upon the type of object, based upon views. So I can have predefined views created here. So once the views are created, these views are shared as well. For example, if you look at this view and you want to show the same view to someone else, what you will do typically is a screenshot or write an email or send a file. What I'm going to do here is I will create a view which I want to discuss with an architect, for example. So I create the view, I will save the view, and I'm going to share that view to someone else. So let me just move it a bit forward. So once this is done, I'm sending it to a couple of people, telling them, have a look here. I need your midsection is ready, but there is some issue. And next time what happens is those people will receive an email notification with a hyperlink. They click on the hyperlink, it will bring them back to the same view. They don't need to search it, they don't need to find it, they don't need to download the file, upload the file, write an email, nothing. So all these things are here. Similarly, as I said, we have a capability similar to this. So I can have a design review or markup created here. I can send that markup directly to the person who needs to address it. And similarly, he gets an email with a hyperlink, comes back to the same location, and he drives the answers back to the same location as well. Now, apart from this design review, what's going to happen next is, if I'm looking for a clash, so I can choose that I need to do a clash between multiple services. You can choose, for example, in this case, we're looking from level 2 for one service to a level 2 on another service. You can choose all the services together. I'm looking here MEP versus structure on level 2. I'll say run the clash test. Now what happens with this clash test is it will come up with all the clashes between those two services. And remember, this is online. Nobody has to download the file anyways. So I can go and browse through all of those issues. Like in this case, there is a duct and a lighting fixture issue. I can go and mark up them directly over here. And just a second, let me move it a bit forward. All right, so markup directly on those clashes. And secondly, what I can do is I'll be able to send those clashes or group the clashes based upon if it's the same clash happening with multiple clashes. I can set the status and I can notify. Here, I'm not sending the entire report to everyone. I'm saying these 5 clashes are between ducting and the electrical guys. Sorry. So I'm just selecting and sending it to them. What's going to happen is they will not receive the hundreds and thousands of clashes. They will receive what is relevant to them. And they will get an email notification. They can come back and see them here in the same system. And what also happens with this is once the email goes in, they will also have a choice to say, okay, this is back to Revit now. So, okay, before that, it's exporting to us as a report to a PDF file is also possible, or going back to Revit, looking at the clashes which have been sent to the person, and then he can say view it back. So it comes back to the Revit as well. So people don't need to download the file or even look for a report. They go back to Revit and say, show me why the clashes have been sent to me. I'm going to look at them directly within the Revit. So this is the workflow we're talking about. It's eliminating that discussions, the emails, those sending the files, and getting the people talk about them to a very, very minimum. The whole idea about the glue here is that you go to a coordination meeting with the facts. You know already what are the clashes you need to discuss. Whether you have to move or somebody else need to change, but you know it before you go to that line of fire, right? So ready for the war and with the glue. Now comes another piece of information, which is we call as the BIM 360 layout. So the BIM 360 layout has a capability to use that coordinated model and connect that model to a layout process. So it is two ways, layout as well as built. So I can take the model coordinates and do the layout as well as bring the as built model. So what we typically do here is any of these softwares, whether Revit or AutoCAD-based softwares, it could be Civil 3D, it could be Plant 3D, or it could be plain AutoCAD or Navisworks. So no matter what file formats you have, I'll be able to generate the points, and then I send the points to BIM 360 Glue, which we discussed earlier. And that BIM 360 Glue app has another app called Layout, which will connect to the total station, which is a robotic total station in this case. And if I have finished that layout, I'll be able to capture the as-built points, bring them back to my design environment or the software where I created them, whether it was Navisworks or Revit, and I will be able to look at the deviation. So it's going to tell me if this was the design point, and if this is the actual as-built point. So I'll be able to see them physically. I'll be able to see a report. So it's going to drive that as-built and verification and quality checks in a very, very streamlined way. So it works very easily. There's an iPad, and you log in with your account. There's a model which has the points being identified, and then we connect it to the total station in this case. And once the total station connection has been done, it's a direct Wi-Fi direct type of connection. And what it does is it tells me on top how far you are. It's a single man operation, by the way, so the productivity is already 100%, right? Typically, survey 2 people, it is 1 person. Only 1 person handling the iPad. The total station is somewhere else. All right, so it will tell me how far I am from the point which I need to take. It will guide me towards that. And some of the total stations also have a laser. So they shoot a laser towards the point where exactly it is. So if you are looking for a hangar, it's going to tell you, okay, this is where the hangar is. The laser will stop there and tell you, okay, this is where the point is. So you don't need to do those manual measurements. Each and every measurement is not required to be done. The measurements can be driven by your models. And it looks like this. The moment you reach to the point, it will automatically zoom in and go and tell you this is where the point is. And you can go and mark that point, and this is with respect to the BIM. And frankly speaking, any BIM guy does not need to have a surveying, experience to do this, because this is driven directly from a model, and you can do it very easily. All right. Then comes the BIM 360 plan. As I said, so BIM 360 plan was created keeping in mind the short-term planning, what we typically do. You typically have Primaveras or Microsoft projects plans done. But if you look at a Microsoft project or Primavera plan, it's a 3-year plan for a construction. Activity or piling starts on week 1, it goes till 4 months. But what happens on a day 1 at 10 a.m. and day 1 at 12 p.m., 3 p.m. It's not in the Primavera. It's always in that Excel file in the construction site or on the wall on a construction site. So what this plan does is it allows us to bring in the Primavera plan through an Excel format, and then we add those small or the daily activities, hourly activities to this. So after this is done, the whole purpose here is that every team working on the site, whether the contractors and subcontractors, it's a shared plan with them. So you can share the daily activities, the weekly activities with them. And it can look like this on a web browser, like a very, very simplified kind of Outlook calendar. Or it can look like similar to Primavera or Microsoft project, or much complex with the data. Or this is on an iPad. So again, on an iPad, you can see it like a Outlook calendar. Then if you, for example, I need to change something here, I will be able to go and select an activity, change status, move to a next activity, and get my work done. So it has the reporting capabilities where you'll be able to see which subcontractor has not finished the task, which subcontractor has maximum pending things. So you'll be able to change the task, assign it to complete, change the status. For example, if the work has been delayed, you will be able to directly change the delays here and get the things done. So all those things are in one single place. And as I said, this is meant for those daily routines, daily updates. And then you get the reports generated like this, where you can see the PPC summary, or you can see the performance snapshots. You'll be able to see how much work is done, what are the root causes, the volume of the work. So our purpose here is those sticky notes and this spreadsheets. So I'm not saying that you don't need Primavera or Microsoft project at this moment. What I'm saying is those plans, what happens in this Excel on the daily activities or on that, this is what we can have a one single cloud plan accessible to all the stakeholders. Now comes in another one, which is BIM 360 Field. So BIM 360 Field as a product is on a site. Even though the name is BIM 360, I just want to say something different than BIM. It can also be used on a 2D project. Even though there will be some disadvantages, means you won't be able to get some information, but can I use it on a 2D project? The answer is yes. BIM or non-BIM, we can use the product. Now, if you look at here, anyone on the construction site, you will have the same piece of information, the same location of accessing the information or accessing the database, looking for the information, or informing about something which happens on the site at one location. And what we do here is that we use it for all type of quality systems, whether you're looking for a point of view, or you're looking from a quality, from a structure, slabs point of view, or safety, or taking the documents. So that means when I say documents to the field, I do not need to take the drawings in like this, and then walk. So what I can have is, I have all my plans, I will have all my details, I will have everything what I need on the site, including the manufacturer details, including the installation manuals, everything with me on that particular iPad. And I can be also offline. That means the data which is in my system, I can download it on the iPad, and I can be on a site, I can be underground in a tunnel, I can be in a mine for the whole day. I don't need to have internet. And I will be able to work. And whenever I go back to home or office, I'll just push a button, say sync the data. It goes back to cloud. It's all at one place. And we use the checklist. We use the different users here. Now this is one way of creating it. So I'm going to create here as an issue. So issue is anything you can call issue. You can call it snag list. You can call anything else. But this is, you want to report a problem. So you start creating it. So I want to tape here. So this is what I'm going to do here. By the way, this is our Autodesk Dubai office ceiling, all right? So I have reported that I need to have a repainting here. Now the photograph is there, but you still need to tell people what do you mean by that photo. So what I'm doing here is, in that photo, I have a capability of go and do further markups. I can write on that photo, I can mark up on that photo, and I can say, okay, this is why exactly I'm asking you to repaint it, for example, or this is exactly what my message goes here. Paint it here, or paint with particular specifications. And once this is done, so that was an image, I can go further and say, I'm going to add one more document. So document can come from the library. So it can be a 2D, or it can be a BIM model. So I can browse to my document library and say, okay, this is the PDF file referencing to this floor plan, or this is a detail for that particular connection. This is what I'm going to reference. I can again crop it. I can go and mark it up as well. So you have a tool with you on a site. You don't need to go back to office, look for a drawing. You have it here. You mark it up here. You don't need to go and scan it back in the office and then send to the people. It's here. You mark it up. You synchronize. Everyone in the project gets the same information without without needing to redo the work. So once this is done, further what I'm going to do here is I will be able to provide more comments about it. I'll be able to assign it what type of issue it is, means classifying the category of the issue. I'll be able to assign it to a company, and I'll be able to assign a due date. I will be able to assign the root causes and everything directly. Or if I have a BIM model with me, as I said, I'll be able to go to the BIM model and create that issue on a 3D model now. So that model is here with me. I can zoom into that model and say I need to create an issue, and this is an AHU, and it has an it has an issue, for example. I need to have the mounting pads for that issue because of vibrations, so I can go and create. Different colors, what you see here, means different status. Red is an open issue, yellow is in progress, and all those kind of information is in one place. So I can go and start creating this one and assign it to company. So you can assign the issues on a 2D, you can assign the issues on a 3D, you can assign the information on all of these. So you can combine, you can have it, kind of 2D plus 3D, or you can only have 2D, or you can only have 3D as a reference data with you. Now, once that is done, the next thing what I'm going to do here is I'm going to run for something called checklist. So checklist is company-wide templates for checking quality, checking safety, checking commissioning. So I can go and look for one of the reports which I need to follow up. I can go and say, okay, I need to find one of those quality checks. I can simply say this is one of the checks, and I will go on the right-hand side. If I read the first one, second one, third one, they look fine. I'm saying this is okay. Fifth one does have an issue. It is automatically going to create an issue for me. I don't need to retype the issue. It's going to do it for me. It will have a capability to attach photographs, attach a document, attach a manual, attach anything further to it, and assign it to a company who needs to address this one before it goes on. And similarly, everything looks fine. I have a possibility of going and do a digital signature. I can have multiple signatures also assigned here. So I can say, for example, if I'm the quality supervisor, it's fine. I can sign it right now. And it records the person's user ID, the time, and the day when he did it. So there's no going back that it wasn't me. So it's going to be the person who has done it. Similarly, if I move further and say what else I'm going to do here, remember I was telling you the BIM information, going back to where it came from. So this is the equipments, what you see here, coming from Revit. They come from Revit via BIM 360 glue. You can have the equipments here. So you can track the equipments, you can have the list of the metadata which an owner has mandated you. Whether you follow COBie, whether you follow non-COBie, it's a company standard, or owner has given you those parameters, you can type those parameters here, and you feed those data here. For example, I'm assigning the details to it. I'm saying this has been installed or this has been pre-installed. So I'm changing the information about the equipment. And I can also go and say this, okay, this has a warranty. I can go and say barcode. I can go and scan the barcode. Most of the equipment has a barcode. I can go and scan the barcode or QR code to record the information what I need to type in. So this is as simple as recording anything. It could be QR code or barcode, as I said, and then serial number, tag number. Now, I just want to pause you for a second. Typically, the person doing this on the site writes in a diary, goes back to office, types in an Excel. At the end of a day, somebody doing the as-built types in Revit. This is not going to happen here. I'll be able to decide everything here when I'm adding this information. And I can pre-assign for each and every equipment what checks needs to be done. Means checklist can be pre-assigned to those equipments. You can check the issues which were earlier there on that equipment. You can have the information there. You can look at attachments. You can look at the activity happen on there. You can even create a task related to that particular equipment, so that you can say, okay, this equipment needs to be moved from basement to rooftop. I need a crane. So you can have a task created for a crane subcontractor to do it that day. And you can anytime go back to the 3D model within the same and ask it, show me what the equipment is. So you'll be able to look at that equipment in a real world coordinates here in your iPad, for example. Now that's how we capture the information. Now secondly comes into the reporting part. So the moment I log in, I can see how many equipments have been installed, how many have been commissioned, what is the status. I can go and create a report. I can change this dashboard telling me which subcontractor has maximum pending issues, how many are delayed, how many are on time, what's the performance, how many checklists have been completed, and all those kind of information. It can be visualized without you asking. Or on a web version, you can go and do checklists. You can do everything what is required on a web version also. And what is not available on the iPad is the reports, the last one over here. So what the report means here is I'll be able to go and create a report for anything, the issues, the tasks, the commissioning, the checklist, the updates, and equipments, everything. And I can also filter it, what type of report I want to generate, and what format, PDF or Excel. If you still need Excel, I can give you Excel as well. That's not a problem. I can give you a report in PDF, I can give you a report in Excel, and I can give you all the attachments and everything the way you need it. And the beauty of this is, further going here, I can schedule this report. That means I don't need to log in every time to generate the report. Based upon the filter, I will set the days, I will set the time, and I will type in the email ID of the people who need to receive it. Based upon the filter, based upon these people, at that day, at that time, it will go and generate a report and send you in an email. So it will be the current information available on the online, goes to your email box and telling, for example, to a project manager, how many issues are there in this week before he starts the next week work and all that. So this all can be customized. So this is one of the report format. We call it as a detailed report. It takes care of each and every report. And if you have taken a photograph or if you have attached a drawing, it's already automatically assigned it here. You don't need to have an issue, print a drawing, file them, have your document controller stamp it. It's all in one place. You don't need to worry about those functionalities. Every document you have attached, it can be processed automatically for each and every issue when it comes in there. All right. So apart from that, as I mentioned earlier, there's always, whenever you do a commissioning and you need to do a handover, how do you hand it over? Drawings, models, and how the data is looking for. So if the owner has mandated a project with a BIM or as-built BIM information, how do you give him the information back to his native file format? Now I'm going to show you an example here. Example is that this is my Revit file. This was the same file which was in my iPad. Now this is back in Revit here. What I'm going to do here is, you can see the colors tells me that green one has been installed, that one has been ordered, and all those kind of information. And I can also see that information, what you see on the left-hand side, has come from site. I did not type. I can swear on that. Okay? It's not manually typed. It's all coming from the site. The parameters on the left-hand side and the information, the barcode information, the install dates, the warranty dates, the tag numbers, the asset IDs, everything from the site captured on a day-to-day basis comes back to your model, and it's ready for as-built. So if an owner asks you to give me an Excel file from here, you can generate an Excel. If he says, give me a Revit file, give me Navisworks file, give me IFC file, any format, you have the data. You do not need to worry about how do I give it to him with all this information. This goes automatically. So that's a trend we're trying here. So the information starting from the conceptual stage till the handover, it stays current, it stays connected, it stays relevant, and you don't need to repeat those tasks day-to-day basis. All right. Now, I know I'm running out of time. So this is another one. So this is BIM 360 Docs. So as I was mentioning, this is going to be our common data environment, and one of the highly paced development project from Autodesk from past 1.5 years and more. So a lot of development happening on this project. So I will be a bit faster on that, to be frank, but I have a session at I think 3:50 or around, which I'm going to go into more details. So if you're looking for that, I'll be more than happy to welcome you back on that time also. But I'll give you a couple of pointers here. So first thing what happens here is that it has a capability of publishing the data. So when I say publish means how it processes the data. So then how you share the data with the relevant information to relevant people, with a secure environment, how you view the data, how you mark up the data, how you process the data in an environment. So for example, if I say publish, it becomes a single repository. It has an OCR title block capabilities. It does the sheet separation from a Revit and all those kind of things. So what happens here is, if I upload a PDF file, assume that's a PDF file, and you upload one PDF file, and that PDF file is a single PDF file with 25 drawings in it, or 100 drawings. And what's going to happen here is it will automatically extract them, knowing the name and conventions and everything. Let me just move it a bit further. So I just skip the upload portion. It's going to ask me, do you have a title block? So I will say, yes, I have a title block in the PDF, and this is the title block. I want to extract the sheet number from here. I want to map it with respect to sheet number, sheet size, drawn by, and everything from here. So once I map it, it will automatically extract that from that PDF file. And once the extraction has finished, the result is going to be like this. So let me just move further. So one file uploaded, it will extract all those information separately, giving you automatically taking the sheet number, sheet name, drawn by, approved by, everything. It's a single process. And if I upload a new version of the file, I don't need to worry. It will create version 2 for me. And it has an unlimited data storage. You don't need to worry about how many files I can upload. You can upload anything here, and it's going to stay relevant with you. Now, that is my PDF here. Again, version 2, and it's going to create a version 2 here. Now, if I go here further, how do I share the data? As I mentioned earlier, I have a permission level to a people. I can give them publish only, publish and view, and edit, so they can simply go and view. I can assign the same permission level to the company level or a user level and all that. So what happens here is that I'll be able to go to that particular folder. Let me just skip a bit and going to permission level. So I'll be able to add a person, and to that person I will be able to change the permission level. Now from an IT point of view, what happens here is that it's a single. I just take your cursor right and left, you're changing the permission. You don't need to right click and do hundreds of steps to give the permission or change the permission. This is how easy it can be. And it's visual. The moment you go to the folder, you see who has what permission without you worrying about even doing the right click on that particular thing. So you can see it here that you will be able to manage the permission levels to a company-wide or a role-wide or a user-wide. Similarly, we go here and say we're going to add the markups. We're going to add all those issues here. So I'm going to go here and say this is, by the way, this what you saw here was the highlighted one. It does it for PDF, it does it for AutoCAD, it does it for Revit. Auto hyperlinking. So when you upload a PDF file which has the same drawing name and the title file name, it will automatically generate a hyperlink. So you click on that, it will take you to the document. You don't need to search the document anymore. It is there. It happens with the Revit files as well. Now what happens next here is if I move a bit further. So let's say this is my drawing. Again, you can look at the properties. Now, if you click something on the left-hand side on a floor plan view, it will select that on the right-hand side on a 3D view. Or the right-hand side can be a section view, an elevation view. You can choose where do you want to find that object. So when you're doing a design review, you have a mechanism of looking at that object in multiple views without leaving that screen and looking for information in a different way. By the way, that's a Revit file without converting to anywhere. It's uploaded here, it's viewable here. You can view the metadata, you can look at the properties, you'll be able to do the markups and everything directly on here. And as I said, you'll be able to create those markups, you'll be able to assign the markups, and then something called as issues. So I can create an issue here, and then that issue is actually official issue, means you can submit it to a subcontractor or contractor and saying, okay, I need to have this information, or I need you to solve this information for me. It can be assigned to a person, a company, or a role. You can also set a due date. And what happens with this is once this is set, the person gets an email, he clicks on that issue, it tells him the path as well, he goes back to the same issue, and then he'll be able to reply back to the same information at the same time. You can attach further documents that issue. You'll be able to work on that document. Again, when you're doing this, remember, you're not uploading it one more time. You don't need to download it. You don't need to write an email. You don't need to notify somebody that this is a file where you need to look it for. Everyone knows where it is. That's an official response. It will have a timestamp. It will have a login ID captured as well when it comes to that particular perspective. Now, similarly, we have RFIs here as well. Means we have a capability, let's say a subcontractor starts an RFI issue, and then he submits it to us, general contractor, based upon the feedback. General contractor can send it to construction manager. Construction manager can reply back or send it back to an architect or engineer, or it can go back to any of them. Anyone has a capability to answer yes or reject this request, and it's a workflow which you can set who can create it, who can receive it, and who can answer on it. All right. Now, another one, which is, promise me, is the last one. So this is BIM 360 Ops. So as I was saying, it's a mobile-first maintenance and asset management software. It works on an iPhone or an Android phone, on a web browser as well. So what it does actually is it typically when you have a handover process, the field data or the Revit data which has an as-built information, I can send it here in a single click. That means if your as-built is in field or if your as-built is in Revit, this you can start on a day one. There's no downtime. One click, data is ready, and you can start working on it. So this is how it actually works. So this is what we call as building ops. So let me just quickly move it. So this is interface on a phone. So you can see the issues and this one. Even if you can take the photos, you can take this trends. You can look at the BIM model, which is coming from an as-built BIM model here, and then any device, you can see here that's a dashboard kind of thing. You can see how many issues are pending, how many have been recorded, and all those kind of information. And locations are there. It is going to guide you to the location, speed, you can talk to it, and it's going to create those issues for you. You can record a video or take a photograph of the issues. And then the person, the next level, he's going to get a notification just like in WhatsApp. So you can see on the home screen how many issues are there, which I need to follow, what I need to do on that day. And this is all the information, including those PDF files. They can come from field. You don't need to reattach them. They are coming automatically. You don't need to do anything here. And there's one more probability with the building ops is that we partner with something called as panoramic power. So these are self-powered sensors. So what you do is, and you don't need to, these are non-intrusive, means you don't have to cut a cable. You can just tag it on a cable. What it does is, if there's an issue on let's say, a voltage issue or frequency issue, it will automatically create a ticket. So preventive maintenance, using these particular gadgets, it's a wireless, self-powered sensors, generates alerts on any sub-performing assets in a project. So you have all those capabilities, the assets, as well as the preventive maintenance there. Now, I would guide you to this website, which is we call as a BIM360.com. So in this website, that you will find all the product descriptions. You will find all those things. Plus, there are links for just in case you want to try any of those softwares, whether it's Glue or Field or Ops or anything. So all the softwares are there. You can go for a link and all that. At any point of time, you need more information, do contact your reseller or do contact us directly to Autodesk. We'll be more than happy to help you with that. And I don't know if I have time for any questions, but I want some. Yeah.
Cloud sharing.
Yes.
How is copyright protected?
Okay.
How is what
Okay.
office
Okay.
or legal liability? How is all of that taken care of?
Okay. First of all, if we talk about the IP, so there are two components here. I would say I will take it from a security point of view, for example. So IP means the data what you put there, it's your data. It does not belong to Autodesk, for example. It's not Autodesk who is owning the data. We're just providing the space, and we're providing the access to your own project and own space. Then your data, what's there is your data. Number one. Number two, if you provide an access to an external company, that is between you two. We don't come into the picture on that. And there's one more thing there, because the file which you submit here, you can also submit that in a view-only format. And this is only viewing. They can't download if you want. They don't be able to download. You can set the permission levels that they don't download your file. They can only view the file. That's it. Legal liability part, I think I will have. Yeah.
You can go through the project and
Yes, yes. Like docs, it generates a report. It tells every file who has access, who has viewed, who has downloaded when and what. It has all those reports there. Yes, you can set the permission level. As I said, you can only give a particular person publish, means he can only upload the file. He can't even view it after he's publishing. All right, thank you very much.